Assalamualaikum and hello to all audience in this beautiful evening. Welcome to the forum of the day. I would like to thank all of you for participating in the shows. In this evening, we would like to have a forum from all brilliant panels in the stage. Our issue today are: is it true face-to-face communications are better than virtual communication? First of all, let me introduce to all of you about our panels for tonight, because most of them have a lot of knowledge and also have experience about this topic that will be discussed. Right on my left is our special invited lecturers named as Dr. Amalia Mohta and Dr. Akmal Jeffrey. They are both from University Teknologi Mara in Shah Alam. On my right is Dato' Alia Musa. She is currently the CEO of Umobile Telecommunication. At the end of the corner is a brilliant speech pathologist, Dr. Fatiha Yuzaimi. And last but not least, our youngest panel, Aman Izzuddin, which is currently a master student in University of Petronas. Okay, welcome to our forum for today. Hopes all of you was in a pink of health. With me, Nasuha, as your chairperson for today. Face-to-face communications refers to the interactions between two or more people where everyone in the direct contact with each other. It's also known as personal communications because people through this type of communications process can send and receive key information one-on-one. Virtual communication is how people interact with each other without being in the same room. It used to be remote teams in an office environment and practically every industry. For most employees, business communication takes place over many different channels by using instant messaging such as iMessage and WhatsApp. I want to know, is it face-to-face communication can help our body feels good? Without further ado, I would like to welcome our first panel, Dr. Fatiha Yuzaimi, to deliver her speech. Alright, Doctor. Floor is now yours.
Thanks to our chairperson who look gorgeous today. With the advance of advanced technology, humanity has a tendency to regard letter, emails, or telephone calls as more modernized way to communicate with each other. So those I mentioned earlier is considered as virtual communications. Spend a day noting which conversations are had in person and which are held over technology. If you are like most people, electronic communications or virtual communication wins out. It's just so easy to text your significant other about weekend plans, order your coffee through a drive-thru, post a status online asking for recipe recommendations, and email your friends. But easy is not always better. So, however, face-to-face communications is by no means replaced by such thing, as it is the most comprehensive and interactive way to be in touch. So, from my individual points of view, meeting everyone in person should be preferable because of the following reason. So first, real conversations release feel-good hormones. By talking to someone face-to-face can cause the release of oxytocin, which is a powerful hormone that increases when we show affections and that promotes feelings of attachments and trust. Researchers are starting to believe that while the frequency of communications with family members and loved ones is going up, the quality of that communications is getting worse. That is because no amount of emoticons or emojis can accurately convey emotions. On the flip side, talking to someone face to face make you more emotionally connected to the person. This is especially worrisome for children and teens. When they do the majority of their communications digitally, as is often the case, they can struggle to understand emotions and find it difficult to create strong relationships.
Thank you for the informative speech and thank you for the compliment. Okay, now I feel like I want to go out spending my time with my loved one as you mentioned earlier. Dato Alia, what is your opinion about what Dr. Fatihah said just now?
Yes, I agree with Dr. Fatihah's opinion. However, real life or virtual, any type of communication or method to stay in touch with one another can release endorphin. And to converse with an immediate family members that lives in the same house is free and easy. However, for family members that lives far away, it will be more costly, as we would have to spend money on traveling, toll fees, and others. By using virtual communication, we only need to spend money on our phones and mobile data, which we already have, to send messages or call them, which is almost free or at least considerably cheaper than face-to-face communication. As due to the pandemic, we at the mobile data companies have also provided consumers with inexpensive data packages for this exact goal, which is to help people stay in touch during these trying times. Meanwhile, for those whose occupation requires them to meet face-to-face for meetings or discussion, the cost would considerably be cheaper as using appropriate media such as Webex or Google Meet. They will be able to reduce the cost of travel, food costs, and other costs. Through virtual communication, the cost allocated to send resumes, proposals, assignments, and others can also be reduced by using social medias. The most saving effect of virtual communication would be the ability for students to be able to attend classes and lectures online, especially for university students. Traditionally, university students would have to move and live at dorms inside their respective universities or rent houses near their universities, and then they would have to commute to their respective universities every single day. By using virtual communication such as Webex, Google Meet, WhatsApp, Facebook, and others, students are able to save money on transportation, rent, food, and others. And they are also able to attend their classes and lectures at the comfort of their home.
Such a solid point from you, Dato' Alia. Now, I feel like I don't want to spend much money going out, especially in this pandemic situation. As I mentioned earlier, is it difficult to both of you as a lecturer when handling student itself?
As a lecturer, it is better to have face-to-face class with students because face-to-face communication class can teach how to lend a hand and organizing students and their study. They are giving the ability to interact with the instructor and another student. In research, have suggested there is contrast to the faster real-time face-to-face class, so mostly students like to face-to-face communication in class because they can directly get information from the lecturer. In the face-to-face communication class, students will not miss any important message conveyed by the lecturer. If in virtual class, students may overlook the message conveyed by the lecturer. The problem is that students drop out or getting higher in online courses. Therefore, in the face-to-face communication class, students do not have to wait a long time to get answers they do not understand. For the example, subject that require calculations need face-to-face tutorial. If the student want to discuss the assignment that need to be complete, student can directly meet the lecturer before or after class. In addition, they also can go to office because students already on campus. So this way very easier. Student will be faster to complete the assignment given by the lecturer. Compared to the visual class, students have to wait for a long time to get response from the lecturer. This will slow down the student to complete the assignment. Students also have a great chance to complete their course successfully by doing in classroom situations because they get the answer immediately. For the examples, lecture give the tutorials to students. The relationship building interactions and non-verbal modes of communications may seem minor, but they have large effect on teacher. The struggle teacher burnt out by creating job stratifications, although the opportunity for teacher and student to interact still exists. In online courses, online education is more limited environment that cannot reproduce the same depth of interaction that occur face-to-face.
Thank you to our moderator of the day. As for me, online class has many opportunities in the future. Online class are also easy to understand when studying. Why I say that? It is because lecturers can teach students by displaying videos during Google Meet. Learning using video helps students to understand more quickly, especially in subjects involving science. It is because many science subjects involve processes such as the process of photosynthesis and even the human life cycle. In face-to-face communication, most lecturers will use notes or slides when teaching. Students need to access their own videos related to the topics at the other time. In the simple words, they need more effort to understand the topic by way of finding relevant videos on their own without provided by the lecturer. It is because during face-to-face learning, the lecturer will teach quickly to finish their syllabus. That's why lecturers rarely show videos to students during face-to-face class. Other than that, in my opinion, this online virtual class more helpful for students to understand a subject because they also have lecturers who record their Google Meet during class and upload it in Google Classroom. This does not happen during face-to-face class because students will not be able to look again for what lecturer already taught because most of lecturer will not record their lesson during face-to-face class. In virtual, students can watch the recording anytime. In my opinion, students will get fast answer from lecturer during online class. It is because they are able to open their microphone to ask everything during Google Meet and so on. Other than that, every time lecturer finish their lecture, there will be an opportunity for students to ask everything that they don't understand. And this also happens during face-to-face class. Therefore, in my opinion, online class also does not burden students to understand about what they study.
Thank you for both of you, which have a different perspective. I think that lecturers are also affected by this pandemic issue that cannot be estimated when the virus can disappear. For me, online classes or face-to-face is not important because most important things is the amount of knowledge itself need to be same as student, whether is it online or face-to-face classes. So next, I want to ask the master student itself if he has a different perspective because they are the one who face the issues.
Thank you for the dazzling opinion and thank you for having me here in the show. For me, the face-to-face class is better because having friends actually make our body stronger. A study from the University of California, San Francisco observed 3,000 who were diagnosed with breast cancer. The study found women with a large network of friends who they saw in real life were 4 times as likely to survive as those who had a smaller friend group. Moreover, personal face-to-face communication enables humans to achieve the primitive need of contact in line with scientific findings that people are social creatures that should not be allowed to live in isolation. Lastly, research demonstrated that the human contact achieved by face-to-face communication provide an enabling environment for people to develop substantial action relationship among themselves. There is no denying that the fact that speaking to someone in person can make it much easier to motivate them. For instance, of course, we could write a long-winded message to employees telling them how much they do for the company, but is this going to be more effective than walking up to them, smiling at them, and thanking them in person for their hard work? While we can definitely contribute to motivating our team through electronic communication, there is no doubt that the face-to-face interaction has a special relevance in this area.
My apologies for interrupting. However, I disagreed with Aman's belief because even though yes, face-to-face communication does allow our body to feel healthier, but due to the recent pandemic, it is much better for us to socially distance ourselves and communicate via social media such as WhatsApp, call, SMS, Facebook, Telegrams, and other social medias. We can use these social medias to chat and converse with a larger number of people at once. This would allow us to feel more connected, and we can share family moments such as videos on the family news editions, birthdays, and other joyous occasions. The ability to communicate with a larger audience is also good for people who run businesses, as they can touch a bigger range of consumers using virtual communication via social medias. Virtual communication is also vital for students who are unable to attend schools and universities due to the recent pandemic. With virtual communication, the students are able to attend classes, lectures, receive homeworks, assignments, notes, and they can even ask questions to their teachers during their online classes easily. The teachers can also distribute and check the students' assignments easily using the appropriate medias.
This issue now are very interesting because when the COVID-19 is not exist, the class are happily in a face-to-face situation. But for now, the situation need a new norm so that it can help our country to be free from the virus again. Okay, the show will rest for a while. We will continue our forum regarding to this topic after this. Be right back. Here we are, the same stage, the same shows, and the same panels. From previous, Aman said that face-to-face communication can help making our body stronger. Dr. Amalia, would you like to add some point in this ongoing conversation?
What Aman said just now is very useful to all people out there because face-to-face class does not help the student to perform in their study. In my thinking, facial expression has one or more motion or positions of the muscle beneath the skin of the face. According to one set of controversial theory, this movement convey the emotion state of an individual to observe. Facial expression are a form of non-verbal communications. Facial expression in mood or emotion is to identify the level of comprehension in face-to-face class. To this expression can help lecturers to improve their teaching style according that keep the student interested and exhausting during to face-to-face class. In my research, face-to-face communication student as a key way the lecturer can detect the reactions of students in class. In face-to-face communication, me as a lecturer can relevance the facial expression on the student comprehensions. As we know, the facial expression is the most frequently used non-verbal communications made by the student in the face-to-face communication in class. Meanwhile, the facial expressions for students are significantly correlated to their emotions when help to recognize their comprehensions toward the lecturer. The most expressive way humans display emotions is through facial expressions. Facial expressions are the primary source of information next to words in determining an individual internal. Face-to-face communication allows us to have all embracing and understanding of the idea shared by the lecturer. Not the way the lecturer presents or the opinion suggested by the student in the class on the learning. They are learning how to process and either to change directly or end the discussion if necessary. A research is about lecturer must be proficient in understanding emotions to identify student understanding of their own facial expression by way of a student understanding when learning something. Momentary expressions that signal emotion include muscle movements such as raising the eyebrow, wrinkling the forehead, rolling the eyes, or curling the lip. When students are feeling uncomfortable, they may have lower brow, drop together brow, horizontal or vertical forehead wrinkles, and have a hard time in maintaining eye contact. To be a good receiver of student messages, a lecturer must be familiar to many of the suitable nonverbal cues that students sense.
Thank you, Dr. Amalia, for your thinking. But in my point of view, during online class, lecturers can also know the reaction of students. It is because during online class, students can open the camera. From there, lecturer can even know what their students are doing. Although that does not happen in face-to-face, there's still no different from face-to-face class. Lecturers also still can monitor their students even in online class by asking students to open their camera during online class. Lecturers also can still communicate with students even online. For me, students who is introvert will prefer online class compared to face-to-face class because they did not have to meet many people. So from this, lecturer will see that the students feel more relaxed to study in virtual way. During online class also can help students to be more relaxed. It is because in face-to-face learning, students need to do their presentation direct in front of their classmates and lecturer. But for this online class, students will have an opportunity to record their presentation. So it helps students to be more relaxed in online class because they did not have to present during Google.
From all the side of the panel, I can see there are many standpoints that can be highlighted. Next, from the other side, what is the important things that need to be have when we are having face-to-face communication? May I ask Dr. Fatiha, because she is literally the expert in this issue.
Okay, so we can see body language are important part in the conversations. Facial expressions often communicates more than words, so there is less of a likelihood of us misinterpreting what someone is saying. This helps build a better connections and encourage stronger relationship. Technology is not a bad thing, but relying on it too much can leave our feeling disconnected. So make sure to get up and walk over to chat with a colleague, set aside time at night to touch base with our kids, or set up weekly coffee dates with our friends. Finding the right balance between communicating online and having conversations in person will help us generate stronger relationship and feel more balanced. According to research, more than 90% of human communications consists of body language. When we see the way that the persons we are talking to reacts, we are able to better understand how they are feeling. One of the benefits of face-to-face communications is the live feedback translated to the body language and facial expressions. Other forms of communications can never provide the advantage. We can also hear the tones of voice, which make it easier to interpret the person's feeling. On the other hand, we are able to show our own reactions and emotions. For example, as a doctor, with face-to-face communication, I can directly consult my patients and easily get to know my patient's condition through her or his body language. All things considered, face-to-face communication is still the most effective way of expressing ideas. Even in an age of technology like nowadays, no other tools can replace it as the human needs to meet, to share joys and sorrow, and to keep on living happily. No other forms of communications can be as clear and understandable as face-to-face communications.
Virtual communication also allows people to observe body language by using suitable media such as Google Meet, WebEx, WhatsApp, and others. Face-to-face communication is more time-constrained as it requires planning ahead to ensure both parties are available to converse and discuss at the allocated time. Virtual communication allows people to communicate at any time and place given they have internet connection. Students are also able to easily reach out to their teachers and lecturers in order to ask questions on their homework or assignments. For families and friends, virtual communication will be a blessing in disguise, especially during the pandemic, for them to reach out and keep in touch with their family members. Virtual communication is also a much more beneficial method than face-to-face communication as it allows people to always stay connected no matter where they are on the globe.
Communicating to many people at the same time are very important for us during the pandemic, especially on it. Face-to-face conversation need a lot of commitment. It also can create discipline and motivation because the face-to-face communication and also include eye-to-eye conversation. From what I said just now, do you agree that face-to-face classes can create discipline and self-motivation?
For me, as a student, it's totally true because in the class we must respect the lecturer and our friends. Then, the face-to-face class theory sets of the stage emphasizes the teacher as the center of the learning process. Means the lecturer need or must in the class to give a lecture. Students just sit and take notes. By using this traditional method, lecturer able to know either the student able to understand the lecture or not and also attend to the class. In addition, students will more motivated and disciplined during the lecture. It is because lecturer can watch how the student learn and provide guidance when they make a mistake directly, and they can learn more their mistake and will not repeat them in the future.
From what I have experienced in my class, for me, online class helps students to be more disciplined and self-motivation because during online class, students are at home or in campus and lecturers cannot monitor what they do. For an example, if the tutorial class is face-to-face, students can do their tasks with lecturer in class. But if online, the lecturer will only give assignment with due dates. This means that the students need to discipline themselves to complete their tasks without any help from the lecturer, like what they get in the face-to-face class. Why I say online class are more fostering discipline among students? It is because at home students also have another jobs such as taking care of siblings and helping their parents. Therefore, they need to manage their time between family and also their duties as a students. If they have face-to-face learning, they just need to pay full attention during class without any interruptions like what happened at home. From this, students learn to be more disciplined in every matter where they do not feel it during face-to-face learning.
Thank you, Dr. Akmal, for outstanding output. We all know that face-to-face and online classes has their own pros and cons. It depends on how people can fit in the situation itself. Dr. Amalia, what can you conclude from the all panel speech just now?
Alright, what I have observed, I believe that face-to-face communication in class is better than online learning because students have access to various learning resources on campus versus off. Face-to-face allows students to have instant gratification with answer and help. When a student is in class, they can ask questions what it is fresh on their mind or help with a particular problem. If the student was at home online, they would have to wait for the instructor to email them back. Face-to-face students also gain from socialization with peers and interactions with teachers.
What a magnificent speech from all the panels. Ladies and gentlemen, finally we come to the end part of our forum. I would like to say thank you again to all our panels for the informative and interesting talk. Thank you for the audience that are very active in participating in the show. Hopefully, today's forum will be beneficial for everybody, especially students and lecturers. Thank you again for your attention. We will be right back on the next episode with all new panels next week on the same day and time. See you next time. Assalamualaikum and bye.
Never gonna give you up.